Hey everybody, welcome back to another installment of Hacked in the Dark. We are playing Deathwish by Ian Hart. I'm Ray. EM.
Oh, sorry, I had the Twitch open in another tab.
Almost was flawless. Take two.
All right.
Setup action.
Yeah.
So sorry, what were you saying?
Ian, where did we leave off last week?
Right. So last week, the crew has defeated the Alphil that was converting that whole town into zombies and bone golems, and the party rescued the townsfolk and put an end to all of their nefarious deeds. Returning back to their home on the back of a giant beetle in the magical land of Ildathok, the party has had time to rest and recuperate and take some new veteran abilities. So how about everybody go around and say what new veteran ability you've taken on in the time since the last mission.
Well, I can go ahead and start. So Irma went ahead and took Die Hard. Before rolling to resist, you can choose to double the stress paid or gained on a crit to resist the consequence twice. However, this only applies to resist where you actually roll, not free or armor resists.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi, I'm playing Jack. I took Supporter, which is that when I perform a setup action for an ally, it costs no stress to assist the first action I set up.
And Grigsby took Storyteller. When he relates a short story, he can give morale to those around him who listen to his tale. Short story, anecdote. We'll see.
As long as it's not a half-hour tangent.
Yeah.
Well, this is Grigsby we're talking about here.
Yeah. All right. So the last two missions to take on before the king, you've got one more Baron to deal with, but today we're doing the Grand Alliance. The alliance with the Fae is already formed, but this is now your chance to upgrade it to a Grand Alliance, which means they'll give you even better support, and you'll get another point of potential. And the messenger from the Fae has come with their latest trade caravan, and they've said that they're actually having issues with their Lethian ink supply. The Lethian ink they've been receiving has been contaminated with a hidden trigger phrase that when they encounter it, the Fae who have been given that Lethian ink will suddenly turn into sleeper agents and start attacking the other Fae. So they think that's a big deal, and they've gone through their Lethian ink shipments and determined that the problem is the supplier in Scarlet Bay.
Well, we can't have that.
Yeah, that's deeply offensive to Grigsby, taking away people's free choice.
And Scarlet Bay is the place that we dealt with in the first game, yes?
Yes.
Well, we can go and see who actually won the mayoral election.
Yeah, I say we see what's up with our homie.
All right. So how are you getting there?
I don't see why we wouldn't go there the same way we went the first time. I can ride my horse. I think my horse's name is Gus. I imagine, Grigsby, you might be driving your vehicle.
Mm-hmm. It kind of bumps. It's not always straight.
And Irma, is this the same beetle as last time, since it actually survived that mission?
Probably. Though as long as, yeah, I'm not sure if this one's actually going to be staying that much longer. Who knows? We'll see.
All right. So you travel back to the bay using the same route and the same mounts as last time. seeing the same old sights. But when you arrive, it's not the same old Crimson Bay. They have built fortifications up around the edge of the town, and you even see the starts of two towers being built out at the edge of the bay that could potentially shoot out at ships coming in. So the city is looking much more fortified, and there are several guards waiting at the front to see you.
Well, assuming the town isn't run by vampires, this seems like a good thing.
Yeah. Let's roll on by.
All right, and you
Did
come
Irma
up
happen to bring any muffins?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be chilling too. I mean, we're pretty much indestructible, right? So far, we're like badass heroes at this point.
You do remember how on fire you were the last time, and we went to this place.
So that's how we started off, and then we had an explosion, and then we had another explosion. So it's been one frantic. Yeah, like we're pretty. I feel like we're pretty. I mean, Grigsby's certainly full of hot air. I mean, he's always been. Sometimes.
And when you approach, the guards are like, "You've returned, the heroes!" And they happily wave you right through. They're not going to check you for weapons or anything.
Yeah, why would they, man?
Would you like a muffin?
Sure.
Cranberry pecan.
And the guards take them, and they take a bite, and they say, delicious.
Do any of the guards not take a muffin?
Nope, they all take a muffin, and they all take a bite. No vampires here.
That's good. That was
okay. That's suspicious.
That never happens. Oh man. Sorry, I'm imagining. I'm just amused at our like Ratchet Avengers like fantasy shenanigans. There, yeah.
And so you take the road down into town, and you see that the election posters are gone. The election is over, and you notice that the elect Mayor Tom building has now been turned into an office of the lumber yard. And as you continue to the center of town, you see that indeed Tom is now the mayor.
All right. We did a good thing back then, however long ago that was, team.
It's
real
ambiguous.
Good thing.
I think it's been a few weeks. Does that sound about right?
Certainly could be.
All right. Well, do we want to go see the mayor and see if he's available?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, he kind of owes us a favor, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of in our pocket. I imagine most of the town is at this point too, right?
I've currently got your standing in the town at +2, which means the townspeople are happy and will go out of their way to help you, but aren't willing to fight or die for you at the drop of a hat. Mm-hmm. Not yet.
Not yet.
So you come to the mayor's office, and the secretary, which is the same one who briefly fought alongside you in the first battle, waves you in and says, "Oh, hello. Would you be wanting to see the mayor? I think he's got some time right now."
That would be quite nice, sir.
And he runs up the stairs. There's a brief conversation, and then he waves for you to come up there.
Okay.
And you step into Tom's office, and he gets up, he gives you a big hug, and he says, "Thank you so much for coming, my friends. What can I do for you?"
All right. Well, we have first of all, let us congratulate you on your victory.
Thank you. Yeah, it was.
How has the transition been going?
Really well. It turns out that, as I expected, we could pull in a lot of additional revenue by cracking down on the smuggling and raising the taxes. And so not only could we put up those forts that I'm sure you saw on the way in, but we've also been making some infrastructure improvements.
Yeah, we've been seeing quite a bit of work going on in here.
And I imagine we have our pies in several of the things going up, right?
Spies or pies? What?
Pies. Sorry, I mean, because I imagine we'd like. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Irma's only thinking of fig pies now and is just like,
Yeah.
Pie.
Grigsby's got dollar bills in his eyes, basically. And he's saying at this point we'd probably have made quite a buck or two off of these.
Oh, you got your finger
souls.
in the pie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely doing more trade with your town as well.
So, Mayor Tom, let's get down to brass tacks and let you know what we're doing here. As you know, we've been on a mission to try to defeat the various revenants that have been harming the land, and we've been reasonably successful, including here. But we've made some allies, including some fairies, and we hear tell that their supply of Lethian ink, which they depend on mightily, has been become a problem for them because it seems that it's contaminated, and specifically.
And he looks shocked when you say that because he apparently didn't know.
Didn't know which thing.
That it was contaminated. That surprised him.
Yeah. And we're not surprised that this would be unbeknownst to you. No accusations are being made, but we're just here to get to the bottom of what's going on with that, because it seems like the ink contains some sort of negative spell or code or something that is causing those who take it to become double agents for the revenants.
And he says, "Well, that's terrible news. I can certainly give you a list of all the Lethian ink distributors in the town." And he thinks and he says, "And you know what else?" And he reaches into his desk and he rummages around and he pulls out 3 badges. And he says, "I can also deputize you, so you've got the authority to investigate them. How's that sound?"
That sounds quite nice. Thank you very much.
And he passes out a badge to each of you. It's just a little star. And he says, "This gives you my full authority to investigate this. And if you need any help from the town guard, just let them know. They're all loyal to me now, not, evil vampires. I'm pretty sure."
To you, Mayor. To you.
Mm-hmm. And to the town itself, of course.
Of course.
Yes.
So the list of organization he gives you is there's Best Forgotten, which is an alchemy shop down on the docks that mostly does business with sailors. There's Paul's Pawn and Ink, which is a memory pawn shop. And then the big one is Bay Alchemic, which is sort of like like a big warehouse where they collect Lethian ink and mix it for redistribution.
Okay. Do we know if any of these folks in particular do more business with the Fae, or is it going to a general trade that it's hard to track down where that specific Lethian ink is coming from?
Bay Alchemic is probably the ones who do the most business with the Fae and other and werebeasts and others who just want the human experience. They've got a big warehouse where they buy Lethian ink from others and then blend it together to make a just sort of human experience slurry instead of giving you the memories of one specific person.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like they would be the people to go and have a chat with.
All
Do
right.
they have figs?
You might have to stop at the market on the way.
Excellent.
I
we stop?
think we could see our way to doing that.
Can we stop
All
at
right.
the market and the pawn shop? Pawn shop did sound kind of cool.
All right. So
Oh, I got a beetle that's got a few miles on it. We can see what we can get, Grigsby.
all
And
right.
some of this loot, right? Like, gotta be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you grab some food at the market and then stop in at Paul's Pawn and Ink. And the proprietor looks up when you enter and he says, hello there. Are you looking to buy or sell?
Possibly both. What you got?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have curated memories on the shelf over there that are available to buy.
Grigsby's just gonna start picking them up and kind of.
Yeah, they're each in little vials with labels explaining like "True Love's First Kiss," like just titles that are perhaps an exaggeration, but make each one sound like an appealing experience.
Oh, those
How
could be really bad.
Yeah,
They were pawned off.
and
Grigsby, this one is totally yours. What do you think?
You think so?
And
I'll remember.
over on the other wall, there are vials that are listed as not for sale. And each of them is just has a note card describing what the memory is, who pawned it, and how much they need to pay back by when to get their memory back.
I'm gonna go ahead and look. Is Grigsby's memoirs anywhere up there?
I don't know, Grigsby, have you been selling them out pretty widely?
I sure am. We're famous. Well, all of us. I mean,
Then,
I'm the one on the cereal boxes, like they're, but
Sure. Okay, so what's a signature Grigsby memory that's up for sale?
Jeez. That's a tough one.
It's one you might not remember.
Anyone got one?
Yeah, Grigsby doesn't remember, but maybe the whole. Well, actually, here the whole him getting on fire and fighting with the vampires here. That might be a popular
Yeah.
memory in this particular town, so it might fetch a high price.
Yeah, that one's up on the top shelves, and he's like, yes, that's from one of the heroes who saved our town recently. It's a pricey item, but a valuable one.
You don't say.
Well, would you like him to sign the vial for you? I mean, this is him himself.
That's him?
Exactly.
And he looks around nervously, and he's like, please be careful in the shop. We don't want any accidents. It would be very expensive.
Grigsby's gonna drink. He's gonna drink it. He's gonna
drink your own memory.
Yeah, he's gonna down it
without paying for it.
That's very expensive.
It's
This is what happens when Irma has only a height level of below the counter and can't see this to begin with.
So, what happens when I drink it?
You suddenly recall the incident from the first time you were here, where you were set on fire, had your stomach exploded, and fought all those vampires. And then you also recall the part where the bar owner came up and asked you to pay your tab, and you then had to pawn off your memories to cover your tab.
Yeah, I definitely forgot about that one. I'm gonna smash the bottle and be like, yeah, I'm the greatest.
he points at the price tag and he's like, you'll have to pay for this,
Grigsby, are you going to have to give up a bunch more memories to pay for this memory?
It's okay. It's for a good cause. I'm helping the little ants.
He's just like shaking his head like,
I'm not sure how that works exactly.
Me neither, not at this point. But the intent is there.
I'm going to go ahead and just hand off my little pouch. I have some figs. I'm just eating like popcorn. I just kind of like hold out the bag to him so he can have one. So what will you take for a beetle?
And he looks outside of the beetle and he says, I deal more in memories than livestock.
I mean, you can take its memories.
I don't think that'll be a top seller. I'm gonna be honest. We don't have a lot of clients.
Carrying the heroes and many of their adventures that wouldn't sell.
We
the
have
idea
some
of flights. And
I have some specialty clients who might be interested in that sort of memory, but they tend to be very particular in their commissions. I don't think they would take this sight unseen.
Toto. He said the commission word.
I'm gonna go ahead and look around to see if he's got anything. He's not really showing. Like it does. I wonder if like he has got a button to where the black market stuff pops up.
Okay. That sounds like a survey or finesse.
Did I put? Oh, I did actually put some dice in something. Yes. We'll look around.
It shouldn't be risky because you've got a decent chance of being kicked out of his shop, but also normal effect. It's not.
I can totally set you up. We could totally set you up here.
Find it.
Okay.
You gonna distract him?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be risky normal for you.
Okay.
Emote would be the preferred action.
Okay. I'm not gonna push. Roll 2d6. 2d6. 5.
Okay. So you start acting distracting. So that's going to set up everybody else's actions, while he, as a consequence, angrily grabs you by the shirt and drags you out of the shop and says, "Don't come back."
Wait, to Grigsby? He's doing that to Grigsby?
You just drank
You're
one of his
acting like
most
a huge nuisance.
expensive vials ever. Probably somebody who wants to pay it back and get it.
That's me on half your shelves, man.
Oh, sorry. I typed the wrong thing.
And he says,
when you sell your memories, Grigsby, they belong to somebody else.
Okay.
All right, so you're in a controlled position. So you got that 5, and the only consequence is he's going to come back in the shop. The effect, on the other hand, is that you do indeed find there's a hidden compartment behind the counter, and in it, there's a number of vials that contain more select memories for his discerning clientele. They're mostly things that probably don't need to be described on air. They are legal, but not appropriate for polite society.
Into the pot they go. Oh crap! I need to put something else in there. Sure, why not? Just empty them all out into the pail, and then just pull out the water that I got and put the vials back.
Alrighty. So you dilute the memories and then put them back and mix them?
Wait, do I have regular bottles to where I could keep them and just like put some fake ones up there? That would actually probably be better. Give me one.
Probably be wise not to pour all these memories into your pot where you are. It'll be a little distracting.
Yeah. Does she have? Oh, I'm not an alchemist. Let me see. I do have some bottles. That like my
Yeah. Yeah, an alchemist would typically carry around spare bottles.
Yeah, but I'm not an alchemist. I do, however,
well, you could just pay one load if you want to have some bottles. That's fine.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't need to
I'll
be
do
written
that.
anywhere. Okay.
Excellent. Yeah. I'll just like switch them out.
Like, so you make the swap before he steps back in.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he steps behind the counter and he sees you and he says, "What are you doing in here?"
Do you see that beetle outside?
I'm not buying your beetle.
Do you know who would?
No.
How can it possibly be a pawn shop and not have
A
connections.
Lethian ink pawn shop. I sell memories. Bespoke memories.
That's not what is on your sign. It says ink and pawn. You
Yes,
really
you
need
can-
to figure
you can-
out your pros on your signage.
You can
there, buddy.
pawn your ink and you can buy ink. It's a perfectly fine sign.
No, it ain't. Do you know anybody? Yes or no?
No.
Well, Ginger snaps. Okay, fine. I'll leave. I don't need memories. I got plenty of my own. Thank you for nothing. And change your sign. She's gonna
No.
walk.
You walk out. Okay, is Jack doing anything else here, or are we done with Paul's pawn and ink?
No, Jack is just slightly appalled. I think that it's time we made our way to Bay Alchemic to see what's going on there.
All right.
Sounds good.
And so you head north uptown away from the bay to a large factory-looking building, and at the front gate you see that all around the factory there's a raised wall about 5 feet high with a fence on top of that. But right at the entrance there is a gate to let you in, but even that has a steep ramp up. And the guy at the gate says, "Hello there. How can I help you?"
So I think we should flash our badges here and say, hello, we would be interested in speaking to the manager of this establishment. We are conducting an investigation on behalf of the mayor.
Sure thing. And he calls over one of the guards from further down the fence line, and he says, "Go ahead and escort them to the boss." And they take you into the factory floor, where you see that there's lots of tanks and crates and barrels, alchemic substances flowing through tubes and being spun and other industrial processes. And he takes you up to the second story, and into an office where the manager of the plant is sitting behind a large desk. And he looks up when you enter, and he says, "Who's this? I don't have an appointment for right now."
And I walk up and reach my hand out to shake his hand and say, "Good day, sir. My name is Jack."
And he shakes your hand and he says, "Hello. What brings you to my office?"
Well, we are here on behalf of the mayor. As you can see, we've been deputized to conduct an investigation.
He looks nervous.
I'm pleased to see that he's nervous. So my name is Jack. These are my associates, Grigsby and
Hello.
Irma. Sorry, I had a seizure for a second. These are my associates, Grigsby and Irma, and we'd like to talk to you about your ink supply. Would you have just a few moments to do that for us, please?
Sure. Yes. Sit down. And he points to the guard and says, "Bring another seat." Or he looks at Irma. Do you need a seat? Or
No, I come with my own seat.
all right then. Try not to get the carpet too damp.
Little does he know about Grigsby. So let's be frank, sir. We are investigating a compromised supply of Lethian ink, and we understand that obviously you are producers of such ink from this town, and we understand you're the primary large-scale producers of Lethian ink from this town, which has been compromised specifically for the fairies of Ildathok. And I'm sorry, Ian. Is that a specific group of fairies, or just
Yeah,
the
it's
fairies of
one court is what they call
One court.
their big anthills. Yeah.
Okay, so which court is that?
I actually haven't named them. What do you guys want? Which faction do you guys want to be allied with?
Ooh,
It's interesting.
it's much
By
power. in
color,
name.
by spring, summer, fall, winter. How does that tend to go in your in
I don't have any lore for it.
You don't? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the autumn court.
Sounds good to me.
Does that sound good to you folks? Okay.
Cool.
So we're here on behalf of the autumn court of Ildathok, who have found that their supply of Lethian ink has been compromised, and that those who use it have become taken over by dangerous behaviors that they are compelled to engage in.
And he says, well, perhaps the problem's at their end, because we distribute to a number of other groups, like the Selkies who live here in the city, for example, and we haven't had any reports of contamination from them. They haven't said anything like
Irma
that.
is just going to start setting up and just messing with a few of the vials that she swiped from the pawn shop to help, kind of like a setup or an assist to Jock if you want to go ahead and make a certain roll for this. Of like, she's totally tampering with memory vials and everything else. It's very obvious that she's doing it. Yeah, you have no problem whatsoever.
As an assist, if you want to try and provoke him, I think that could make sense. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're pretending you've got evidence already.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So may I ask about the supply that goes to the autumn court? Do you know if it goes from your factory directly to them, or are there intermediaries that are working?
Well, we don't run supply lines through Ildathok ourselves. Others come and buy them from us and distribute them. But it's a number of small dealers, so I'll admit it's not likely that any one of them would be the problem. We produce a lot of barrels, and each carrier can only take so many.
Sure. And as an aside, is it our understanding that it's the entire supply from this town that's been compromised, or a small amount of it, Ian?
It seems likely that it's the entire supply, because it's happening to random ferries all over.
Mm-hmm. And it's only happening to fairies. If anybody else were to take it, it wouldn't have an effect?
Nobody else has reported it to you that they're having that problem.
To the best of our understanding.
Yeah. I mean, most people you talk to don't take it. It's designed to give the humanoid experience, which isn't as useful for creatures that are born humanoid like you all were.
Right. So if we were to take it, it would just not do a whole lot.
Yeah, it would just give you weird, like half-remembered memories that aren't yours.
So we don't actually have a way to test their specific Lethian ink supply.
Yeah. I mean, if it has coded mind control messages or something in it, those might affect you. And then he did say that they're distributing to the Selkie community in this town, so you could maybe talk to them.
We could talk to them. All right. So I'm going to talk to this gentleman, kind of explain the issue, get some information. Obviously, we don't trust him very much. If either of my companions are observing his behavior or things happening around, if you want to make any kind of roll on the basis of that, I'm just going to talk to him for a little while, as long as he's willing to talk, and get any details that seem relevant.
Yeah, a survey roll would be good if you are trying to ferret out any useful information from his behavior or from his office.
Okay.
And then just from talking to him, he's going to say that he thinks that it would be hard for any of his suppliers to be the problem because he gets so many shipments from around the world, and he also gets quite a bit from Best Forgotten and from Paul's Pawn and Ink. But each of those is such a small part of the big mixture that he thinks any kind of message would get lost in there. And so he doesn't think that the problem could be in his supply chain.
So his contention is that it is happening after, to the supply after it leaves his factory.
Yeah. And he says, in theory, somebody could contaminate it here in this factory, but I literally can see the tank outside my window. We've got guards all the time. So I really don't know when somebody would have the opportunity to do something like that, or the motive.
It could even just be something simply done that is an additive that triggers it on their end, such as water supply or food.
Yeah.
That causes a difference. However, that doesn't mean that the contaminant is not being added here.
Grigsby surveys for clues.
The big tank over there, and he points to a big tank of Lethian ink, and he says that whole tank is meant to dehydrate the ink as much as possible so that it can be condensed and packaged. And so they do have to dilute it on their end, or they'll go insane. So there's definitely the possibility of something wrong in their water supply. I don't really know how water works in Ildathok. Sounds dangerous and scary.
Can I make a survey move? And just look for clues.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
And I would say you're in controlled position right now.
Yep.
You're supposed to be investigating, and normal effect.
Okay. 6.
Perfect. Okay. So you look around for any kind of clues, and you look at the papers on his desk, and he's right that he's got a lot of international shipping coming from all over the place, from like many different nations around the water. But you notice that the majority of all of his shipments are being carried on one boat, a ship called the Karkadon. And so it's possible that even though they're taking real shipments from all over the place, if they do an additive on each one of those shipments, there might be something there.
Mm-hmm. So that would be worth looking into, because it really seems as if if it's being sent by from here via a variety of means, it would be hard to explain how it's all getting compromised from all those different sources. So it seems like either the supply to or in this factory is possibly where the problem is coming from. We have no indication that the water supply in Ildathok is compromised in any other way.
Right.
Would he mind if we took a look around on the factory floor?
Yeah, he says, go ahead, and he'll have the same guard who escorted you up go with you, and he just says, be normally cautious. They take all the standard precautions of black iron and other things so that your emotions won't, cause an explosion or anything. But if you were to say fall into the Lethian ink vat, you'll die horribly. So
is there anywhere they won't let us go?
Grigsby, that if he were to jump into the vat, I would
catch him.
I wouldn't mind.
You never know with Grigsby.
Just a dabble.
It's just as safe as any other 1800s era factory, which is to say, not very.
Not very.
Gotta see how the dreams are made, Is there any place they won't let us go?
So you try and poke around in various off limits areas, but the guard lets you in. He's like, sure, here you go. The one place that they won't let you in normally is the storage facility where they keep their red mercury. But they will let you go in if you wear a black iron suit that'll block your emotional radiation so that you can't set it off.
Suit that blocks your emotional radiation.
Mhm.
That seems very powerful.
Yep.
We should not have brought Grigsby in here.
Yeah.
Out of
As
character.
I said, I'm staying close enough to Grigsby so that I could
Well,
you know,
here's the
kinda
thing. You're worried about
grab him if I
Grigsby.
had to.
Irma is honestly the one you should be concerned about.
Mhm.
I know, but you at least can restrain your impulses.
I don't know.
You could get into mischief, obviously.
Stars in the bottom of the pot. No idea if I can control impulse at all.
There's that, yes. Well,
The guard is watching you just throw adventurous sign language back and forth, and he's like, actually, maybe we won't let you in. He doesn't know what you're saying, but he knows you're spending a long time talking.
I have my own suit. I don't trust any suit that you wear. And she'll kind of go ahead and pull out her extreme condition suit.
But you will have to take a supply of black iron if you want to have your own full black iron covering, because that's the alchemic element that blocks emotional radiation.
Well, can't you just like rub it on my suit? Like, how do I know your stitching is correct? Never
Well.
mind. You wouldn't know this information. Here, have a fig.
Thank you.
All right. I confused him enough. Let's go.
have we noticed anything through just looking around and poking around?
No, nothing suspicious.
Okay.
Yeah, it all seems to match up. The number of barrels matches up to the figures you saw on his desk.
Mhm.
And like he said, they have a significant number of guards and workers looking in every direction all the time. So you don't see how anybody could slip an additive in there.
Mhm. Well,
I want to inspect their bottles. Maybe it's something that happens in the bottles itself. Maybe a sanitation spray or something to prepare or wash the bottles beforehand that could potentially.
They don't
have such a
distribute
thing?
the humanity in bottles. They distribute it in barrels. But yeah, you can investigate the barreling process.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. I think that would be the other way to be able to coat it, especially if it's something in the wood, because then it can soak during travel to wherever for distribution.
probably don't want to do that by rolling barrel, however.
And so they do let you pick a random barrel to inspect, and they pop it open, and it's full of very dense lithium ink, the same kind that you transported when you did the Fey Alliance mission.
Yep.
Mhm.
And he says, now be careful. This might not be the lithium ink you're used to. It's very dense. One fingerful is enough to give you a coherent memory. And if you were to take like a swig of it, your mind would be gone, blasted away by memories of dozens of other people.
As he's explaining this, you just camera pans over to Grigsby, who's licking the lid, probably.
I have more self-control than that. I'm
Grigsby.
definitely smelling. Wait, I can't smell. How would I? Yeah, I guess I would. It would just all be
Well,
like by look.
Yeah, you can stare into it, which is kind of like reading it. You get,
Wait,
you
so
get
is it all
impressions
right?
off it.
So then it would have to be like unicorn colored and swirly.
Oh yeah, like an oil slick. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Distilled ink.
I
and
have
so
enough self-control not to take a big swig after he said it's gonna wipe your memory.
Yeah,
And
I think Irma
you-
will like inspect the lid and
Mhm.
such to see if there's like any sort of coating.
And no, you don't find anything suspicious. And he also shows you an empty barrel, and he even bottles a barrel for you. Like he opens the tank and fills a barrel right in front of you and closes it. And he says, "This is the same procedure we always use. We wash the barrels out. No way that it could be contaminated. This is standard procedure everywhere."
So I'm gonna kind of butt in and be like, so you're saying you need our protection?
Excuse me?
Grigsby, we're not in this for the profit.
Hold on. Let the man speak.
I don't know what you mean. We're very well protected.
Never mind. He's gonna walk up.
All right.
We're not here to extort anyone. Remember, we're in the big old hero business.
Yeah, but we were kind of thrown into this life, so I don't know, man. Grigsby would try to extort business. Let's put it that way. Not me, Grigsby.
Well, it seems like they're not falling for it.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Well, I'm going to give I think it's time to move on hand signal.
Okay.
All right. And so where are you looking to go next? You could
Well,
go
we could
to
look at the Silkies, or we could look at that ship, the Karkadon.
yeah.
What do you all think?
We got one clue, right? Got the
Yeah, you've got the Karkadon, the Selkies, and the ship, or not the ship, the shop, Best Forgotten. You
But we
haven't
have
checked
not.
out yet.
So that one, yes. What do you all think?
the ship. Let's go there.
Check
I think
All
it's been too easy.
Too easy. What's the other choice?
It's just too easy of a. Oh, it isn't our problem. It's somebody else's problem. I don't like it.
Oh, I don't necessarily trust the folks at this factory. I just think we need to look elsewhere first. We may well be back.
All the better to point our finger. Got it.
But I think we need more information before we can come back and accuse anyone.
True.
Okay.
Did they hand out any samples, by the way?
No, this isn't that kind of tour.
Oh, really?
Hey, there's a
Yeah.
bottling area though, right? Grigsby would definitely swipe
Because I
as much as he
wonder.
could.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting to like test like what Irma swiped to what's here at the factory, and if it's
Mhm.
already present, then we can at least narrow it down.
The bottles they have bottles from Best Forgotten and from Paul's Pawn and Ink. They've got bottles that are just marked like clearance, not valuable memories, that they then pour into the mixing vat to make that human experience. So you could test one of those. And then the barrels they get from the ships that come in, those are all full-size barrels. So you could taste test those, but you shouldn't drink too much or you'll forget who you are.
You see here now, one of these memories is going to help us solve this mystery. Just, okay, so we have. Well, I mean, we have one type, right, from the pawn shop. Are we just, and then we have the clue. I mean, I would definitely grab a couple of bottles of Dream Shake. You never know when that's gonna come in handy.
Just steal from the factory. Sure,
Yeah.
Here. You deputies, the law doesn't apply.
Nimble fingers.
Oh,
Yoink.
right. So yeah, they can't even catch you.
Yoink.
Okay.
You know what's horrible? She grabbed it off the discount shelf, and it's just your own memory.
Probably true.
Egg.
You're like, why am I getting the same memory?
Take a
every
sip,
time?
and it's just the hangover you got rid of earlier.
I'm just like,
Oh,
I've learned a long time ago to like, oh, you gotta have no shame about this business of selling memories.
it's just Irma swapping every single one with exactly the same thing from his memoirs.
Oh man.
Trying to help
Yeah.
you, man.
All right, so on to the Karkadon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
Works
you
for me.
head down to the port, and there's a number of ships coming and going, and you see that the Karkadon is currently in the dock, and they're unloading barrel after barrel of something. It's a big ship, and you notice that it's got armor plating all over it, which most of the other ships do not.
Armor plating, eh?
Yep.
Grigsby's detective eyes. This seems like we're on the right track.
Well, do we want to just go up and talk to him?
Totally
Yeah.
could. And then if we find something suspicious, we can always go ahead and find out information later.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
we're cops now, right?
Yeah.
We're cops. We're
Sheriffs.
the law.
All right. So you're gonna walk up and start flashing your badges?
Guess so. Yeah.
All right.
We're heroes.
And so the guy who's unloading stops and he says, and drops the barrel and he says, "How can I help you? You want to talk to the captain?"
That would be lovely, sir.
All right. And he waits till somebody else comes down off the ramp, and he says, "All right, you keep working. I'm gonna take these to meet the captain." And he leads you up the ramp and into the captain's cabin. And the captain stands up and puts out a hand and says, "Hello there. I'm Captain Tanner."
Hello, sir. My name is Jack, and I'll give him I'll shake his hands.
Mm-hmm.
These are my associates, and we are here deputized by the mayor of this town to do a bit of an investigation.
He looks down at Irma and says, "Oh, they're deputizing gobs now."
Oh,
I'll remember that, smartass.
And he says, "Well, we've got nothing to hide here. We run a clean operation. You're welcome to investigate whatever you'd like. Do you need me to provide any information from our logs or?"
Actually, I could use a little bit of help. See, I'm pretty sure your doors don't have beetle accessibility, and I don't walk. So go ahead and just carry my bucket around, please, my pot, and we'll go ahead and do our inspection.
And he says, "I'll leave that to my first mate."
yeah.
No. You're perfect for it.
I'm gonna hold out my cuff baton menacingly.
And he says, "Elise, come in here." And a woman bursts in through the door, and she's got her arms have been replaced with two big spheres of water that she's controlling with cocytus, and they form into like large menacing water arms that she crosses in front of her, and she says, "What is it, boss?" And Captain Tanner says, "Pick up the gob and carry her around." And she reaches under your pot with the water arms and lifts you up into the air.
How pejorative a term is gob in this?
It's not
aesthetic?
polite, but it's not like a slur.
Okay.
Grigsby thinks it's a slur.
Yeah, that's subjective.
I'm gonna give a "we don't want to fight quite yet" sign.
Yeah. So it's got what kind of powers does it have?
Which thing? Cocytus?
Yeah.
It lets you control water that you're touching as if it was part of your body.
Okay.
It's pretty kind of sort of like the Water Knight.
It's exactly the Water Knight. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
This is just an NPC with that same power.
Got it.
Just
How
out of
hot
curiosity,
is she on a scale of like 1 to 10?
8. No.
Okay.
6.
6?
6.
Pretty big difference.
Subjective.
Yeah.
What is the captain on that scale?
Yeah.
7.
We gotta develop an app and take over the world.
I'm trying to be objective here for the whole audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so any distinguishing features besides the water bending?
No.
I mean, I'll be really close to her because she's like holding my pot now.
Yeah, you're right up on her, but
Oh yeah.
she's not striking you as particularly special.
Mm-hmm. So her lack of arms, does that appear to be congenital or an amputation or?
Yeah. It looks like they were amputated surgically. There's some scars that are, adult size.
Gnarly.
Okay.
Gnarly.
Interesting. All right. Well, I guess we can take a look around the ship.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Elise will carry Irma down below decks. You see they've got a pretty large crew. And then in the hold, they have many more barrels that still need to be unloaded.
So, where does your ink come from?
Oh, we trade for it overseas. The captain could show you in his books easier than I can, but yeah, we go to foreign ports and we trade for their memories.
Hmm.
What do you trade them?
Oh, we take goods from here and trade them over there. Stuff that's rarer for them.
I'm gonna use the opportunity to slink back and kind of start examining
The barrels.
Mm-hmm.
How
Okay,
tall
yeah.
is she? Is she of average? Is it like average sailor height, or is there really honestly not a preference in the society
What's
for
average
ships
sailor
and,
height?
and everything?
Like 5'6".
Oh, like is she
Does Google
short?
have an answer to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have an answer off the top of my head. Let's say 5'8".
Oh,
That
so
helps.
she's actually on, like, on the
5'7" and a
tall side.
quarter, according to Google and the USS Constitution Museum.
All right, taller than average.
5'7" and a quarter.
So you pop open that barrel, and it is full of Lethian ink, just like in the factory.
Only not distilled yet.
Yeah, not concentrated yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's assuming all male too, because it's the Constitution of the Marines. Anyway.
It would be really useful for us to be able to test ink for its effect on fairies.
Well, if I had my fairy beetle, we could just use him as a, guinea pig. But
You could
I wasn't-
check off a favor box if you want. Fairy to come along, but that's a big thing to spend a favor on.
I know, but knowing Irma, she would totally do it.
But
Nah, I won't do it.
memories having a different effect depending on the species, it would not be something you've ever heard of before. That's sort of the whole basis of being of all these were animals is if you put a human memory in a wolf or a seal or an ant, they're all going to get the exact same experience of suddenly having human knowledge.
So, well, let's see about this this subversion then. So we would expect that that it wouldn't have a special effect on fairies. So if a human were to take it, it would turn them exactly the way it would turn a fairy. Do we think that would be the case?
Yeah, that if they're exposed to whatever the trigger is, they would also be subverted and start wreaking havoc, which is the problem that the fairies were having.
Right. Although we would rather not have one of us be wreaking havoc.
Yeah, more than usual.
More than usual. More than our usual amount of havoc.
Just to make sure that I understand this, it's not just happening in Icklethod. It's happening which version of Earth is it happening on?
Well, so the fairies are only experiencing it in Ildathog because they usually don't travel to Earth. But actually, you would say you do know that some of them did have it happen on Earth because they do send out workers, and some of those workers did get triggered while on Earth.
All right. And does it seem to be everyone who takes any of the ink from?
No, just a small percentage of each batch. Yeah.
Okay, so it could be that there's one small source that is providing this particular problematic ink.
Could be.
Is it only the fairies being affected, or is it, or like fairy-like creatures being affected, or is it like everybody?
So far, only the fairies have told you, but you haven't talked to any of the other communities that buys this stuff in bulk. And we are now at our break, so we could think about it over the next 5 minutes off camera,
Okay.
and then come back to it.